Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Dragon's Den podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Nathan, joined again by my other co-host, Dylan Bolch. And today we're joined by two other of the Dragons boys players. First one, Jakob Anderson. How are you, Jakob?
Good, thanks, Nate. Thanks for having me on. How are you, Dill, as well?
Yeah, good. It should be a good episode. And our second guest is Olli Hotton. Hots, how are you?
Good, mate. Thank you both for having me.
Beauty.
So to open, we do this for all the starts of our podcast, talk about a bit of other Dragons, things that have gone on. So I've got quite a few things here since our last episode for the podcast. So the first thing, the 2022 AFL National Development Championships for the under-16 boys. Two of the Dragons made the All-Australian team, Levi Ashcroft and Luke Traynor. Quickly, boys, both those boys, have you had a lot to do with them? Levi's got into the squad quite a bit lately. How have you seen their development so far?
Levi's obviously been playing up with us, and obviously he's a bit of a gun and he's a great kid as well. So I know Levi pretty well. No surprises there with the All-Australian selection. And don't know Luke super well, but played against him when we played Brighton Grammar in the APS competition. And yeah, he's a fair player as well. He took a couple special grabs that day. So, massive congratulations to those boys.
Yeah, beauty. The other piece of news is we had 5 or 6 girls that were part of the Herald Sun Shield premiership team for Caulfield Grammar. And that was coached by an ex-Dragon, actually, Alex Woodward, who spent some time at Hawthorn and Collingwood, so he's moved on to coaching. So well done to those girls. We've also had the under-17s Future Stars matches. So that was Luke Lloyd, Vigo Visentini, Ethan Williams, Archie Roberts, and Harry Sullivan from the Dragons. Hots, what have you know about those boys?
Well, obviously a lot of those boys are all through the Dragons and been training with us for a few months now. So got to see their development up close, and they're all tracking pretty nicely. Archie in particular, we spent a lot of time with him, obviously school footy, so bit unlucky with injury early with a stress fracture in his foot, but ripper bloke, and he's going really well, so happy for him.
Yeah, cool.
Next one, the ACC Football Team of the Year, Spencer McLennan, Ben Hempel, Luke Lloyd. 3 boys, got quite a bit of game time in both school and Dragons footy this year. And then the 2 combine lists, which both you boys are featured in. So the National AFL Draft Combine invite list, Charlie Clark, Will Ashcroft, Harry Sheasel, Cam McKenzie and Ollie Hotton. And the AFL State Combine, Jakob Anderson, Darcy Gilbert, Jamie Hope, Chris Razakis and Nathan Scolo. And quickly back to deal to the Future Stars matches, 2 boys got selected to play grand final day, Archie Roberts and get me the other one.
Riley Sanders. Riley Sanders was the other one, yeah.
So those 2 boys they're playing on grand final day. Pretty big occasion for both of them. But that is a bit of a wrap up of what's happening off the field for the Dragons, and now to deal for the last 3 rounds. A bit of a review now.
So we'll skip over the first one pretty quickly. That was against Eastern, and I don't think either of you boys played that game, but it was probably the worst game we've played all year. Will Ashcroft, Nathan Scolo, Charlie Clark, Mitch Rowe, and Owen Bater were in the best. But that was one that I think a lot of the boys put behind them pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, just sure.
A quick question to you boys. What was the review like after that game, and I guess around the club? Were you pretty intense on reviewing it and moving forward and improving from it?
Yeah, as I was about to touch on, obviously Ollie and I didn't play that day, so we weren't there to see it live. But yeah, it wasn't a pretty review. There were plenty of things we had to work on, and it was probably a bit of a wake-up call as well. We've obviously got a pretty talented list with like the combine boys that you named before, and then others as well. But yeah, it was a bit of a wake-up call that just talent's not going to win us games. So yeah, the review was pretty honest, and I think we took it well, implemented it into training, and I think we've come out of it better. But yeah, it was definitely a game that we wanted to put behind us.
Same for you, Ollie.
Cripper also took a bit of a different approach after the first review. He kind of had us all in the meeting and kind of opened up with some more personal family stuff to try to, reconnect with all the new APS kids and sort of opened himself up to the group. So hopefully we'd all, also open up together and connect better. Obviously, it's a bit tough getting all the APS kids back. So he really tried to drive that sort of connection standard, and I think it was a good thing to do and helped us. So yeah, we've won a few games since then. So I think that's actually a big reason why.
Yeah. How hard is it to actually, sorry to cut you off, Nate, how hard is it to, you both obviously played the school footy year, to be coming to and from the Dragons program and with your Haileybury stuff as well? Like, how difficult is it to put together form when you're playing in so many different teams?
Well, like it's luckily for Jakob and I, we're playing pretty similar positions, even though he went to the wing last week, 1 to 2 weeks ago. But it's similar in the fact that you're playing a similar position, but then again, your role's completely different. So it is a bit difficult. The form so much isn't that hard to maintain, but the sort of role you have to play and knowing the setups and what you have to do on the field is sometimes a bit difficult. Which I know, talking to Cam, we kind of felt it a bit difficult coming into that midfield role in that first game back against Oakley. But yeah, it doesn't take long to learn it again, and yeah, maybe just a game or two.
Yeah.
And then on to the last game of the home and away season against Oakley. Much different day to the first round one game when it was pretty miserable weather. It was a pretty big game. I guess this determined where both sides finished on the ladder and who they would play in the next week. And it was a great game. It was definitely lived up to the name of the rivalry. It was a full squad since pretty much the first 4 weeks, I think since the Tasmania game, which was mid-April. So quite a lot of time without a full team. Got pretty heated half-time, bit of a scrap in the middle, and Jimmy Creighton kicked the goal in half-time. It was good to see. Oakley kicked away in the third, and it sort of seemed like we weren't really going to get back into it. But then it was a really good last quarter comeback, 7 goals, fell just short. Jakob, mate, take us through the last play of the game. It was just a kick that really would have. It was a 1 in 1,000 kick to go in from that distance. But what were you thinking? What was going through your head?
Well, look, the umpire paid on the ball after the siren, to be honest. So I had a bit of confusion if I actually had the kick. But yeah, I did have a shot after the siren to equal the score to make it a draw. Yeah, it was a pretty big kick. Like, I was about 60, 65 metres out. So to be honest, I wasn't feeling too much pressure. I thought if I put it through, it'll be the best moment of my life. But I don't think anyone's going to really judge me if I don't. I went the drop punt as well because I had the wind behind me and it fell short. And in hindsight, I probably would have pulled out the barrel. But yeah, look, as you said, Nath, it was a 1 in a million kick. And yeah, just it was we got really close. And to come back from 7 goals behind at 3/4 time, I think it was a great effort.
Ollie, for you, both of you boys are sort of back in the side after a while. What was the transition like? Was it easy coming back into the side, playing against a quite tough opposition that match up really well on both sides? How did you find that game? How did you come out of it? Were you happy with how you performed?
I wouldn't say I was overly happy with how I performed. I had a decent day in the end, but yeah, it was a bit difficult in the midfield, sort of coming from APS where you're sort of that go-to player majority of the time. And, in APS, you have the other team kind of coming for you and usually get a bit of a tag or a bit of attention. So it's a bit different. And NAB League's a lot more fast-paced, and you got to worry about your opponent as well. Whereas APS, my opponent was kind of just always right behind me. So, yeah, it was a bit of a shock sometimes, and I turn around and someone's already 100 metres the other direction. So, yeah, it took me, almost 3/4 to actually get used to it and get myself into the game a little bit. So in the end, I was kind of happy with it, but yeah, I wish I could have had a bit of more of a 4/4 performance, I guess.
For you, Jakob, how do you find it?
Yeah, I had a bit of a different role against the Chargers. I was played on the wing, which I played a little bit on the wing last year for Haileybury, but yeah, it was a little bit foreign. I hadn't played the wing for the Dragons, so had a bit of education throughout the week, and obviously it's different setups to the back line and it's completely different. So I did find it pretty challenging. I didn't impact the game as much as I would have liked to. And it could have been very different if I had to kick that goal after the siren, but I didn't. So, yeah, it probably wasn't my best day, but I learnt a lot about the wing, and I treated it as a day just to learn. And my running patterns were okay, but yeah, as I said, I just couldn't really impact offensively as I would have liked to.
What do you think, like Nathan mentioned before that you came back pretty hard in the last quarter. What clicked in that last quarter that hadn't clicked in the first 3?
Oh, look, I think it was a bit of do or die for us. Like, there's obviously a rivalry against Oakley, and Cripper gave it to us at 3/4 time. He really put the acid on us that, we don't want to just die away this last quarter. Going into the wildcard round, we wanted to have a bit of belief that, we can play against the best sides in Oakley. So, we really just wanted to prove to ourselves that we had it within us to take it up to the best, and I think we proved that internally.
Yeah, nice. Awesome. So the last week, or on the weekend just gone, there's a wildcard weekend. So we finished in 8th and played Murray, who were 9th. How did you see that? What was the preparation for that weekend like, given we hadn't played them throughout the year?
Do you want to touch on that, Ollie?
It wasn't, I guess, too different to most other weeks. I guess, Jack and I haven't played most of the clubs this year at all, so it wasn't too different for us. But we kind of just treated it like any other game, and knew that we have to leave it all out there, and we didn't want to come off the field regretting anything and wishing we did something different. So we really wanted to go out there and get it done, really, so we could win, but also in preparation for next week, so we could kind of build some momentum throughout the finals and really take that with us. But I guess we kind of just doubled down on our game plans and made sure we did those perfectly, and then executed them on the game day and got the win. So
And how did you see, I guess, the ebbs and flows of the game? It was the first half seemed pretty even. I think we're up by about a goal or two at half time, and then the third quarter we sort of kicked on a bit, and then Murray came hard late. How did you sort of see that playing?
Yep. Yeah, well, it was a finals-like game. The intensity was up, that's for sure, and I think both sides were feeling it out early. There were probably a bit of nerves on either end. Obviously, it's an elimination final, so there's no next week for the side that loses. So at halftime, we just regrouped. We felt that we were on top, and we came out in that third quarter and really got going. But like we did in the week before against Oakley, Murray came back at us in that last quarter and gave us a bit of a fright. But if anything, it was probably good preparation for those close moments in the dying stages of games where the pressure's on, but everything's at stake. So it was a good chance to implement some of our training for those pressure moments in the last few minutes, and we were able to hold on luckily. But I still feel that we probably had control of the game all day. So it was a deserving win, and we take the learnings out of that into next week.
Yeah. A question for either of you. It felt like watching on the sidelines that Levi was a pretty big part of that third quarter. A couple of really good tackles. He kicked that goal from the boundary, and then again in the fourth quarter he converted a set shot that felt like it steadied the team. How important is it, I guess, to have players like Levi and like yourselves that can stand up in those really tough moments?
It's massive to any team. It's good to have a couple of those players that once they get themselves into the game, they can really change the flow and really steady it for us, because a couple of big tackles, like when someone kicks a goal, they start to get up and about and land a couple of massive tackles. It puts the opposition on the back foot, and once they start to see we're up and about, they kind of sort of fall back and start to doubt themselves. So Levi was huge on the weekend. That second half, he was just laying tackle after tackle, and those 2 goals were the result of his hard work defensively as well, and got to rip the rewards for it, and it was massive for us.
Yeah, cool. So this weekend we've got Calder in Ballarat on the Sunday, but we were the only higher ranked wildcard team to win on the weekend. Jakob, how we're talking about this before, it's a pretty even comp, the NAB League. 4 out of the 5 teams that were seeded lower 1. How have you seen the evenness of the competition this season when you have played?
Yeah, well, I mean, if I was a betting man, I probably would have lost a bit of money on the games that happened over the weekend. So I think that's a good sign of how even the competition is. And it's probably hard to really read how strong a side is throughout the season with so many players leaving with the national champs and APS competition. So I guess you can't really take any side lightly. We beat Calder earlier in the year, but our side looks extremely different this week as it did to last time we played them, and I'm sure they're the same. So, I guess you got to just take each team on its merits, that they're in a final and so are we. So it's an even battle coming into it, and we just hope that we can be the better side on the day.
Yeah, cool. So we'll start talking about your junior careers, and I guess where it all started. We'll start with you, Ollie. So you played juniors at Hampton East Sandy Rovers.
Yep.
Jakob, you at Dingley. How did you both get into footy to begin with?
Well, Dad got me into footy pretty early.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was pretty heavy on the footy, so
Yeah.
I had footy in my hands from a pretty young age, and so then when you get to school, we start playing with all your mates, and you just go from there pretty much. Everyone wants to get down to the local club and sign up. So Dad would have been the one originally.
Yeah. And you, Jakob?
Yeah, probably the same. My dad didn't play AFL like Ollie's dad, but definitely loves it. So, it was probably just a natural path for me. And footy was put in my hands pretty early. And even in kindergarten, that's all we were doing back in the day, just kicking a footy. So, Dad was probably the main influence.
Yeah, cool. What would you say are some of your best junior memories?
For me, probably my Dingley side. We made it to a grand final in under 15s, I think it was. We were always a Div 2 side, and probably the laughing stock of the competition most weeks around school, most years around school, especially at St. Bede's with a lot of Morty Bray, St. Bede's kids. So to make a grand final that year was pretty special. We didn't win it, but that's probably my fondest memory.
Yeah. And you, Ollie?
I'd say mine will probably be winning one of the flags.
Yeah.
In my year 6 year, I don't know, maybe under 13s it is.
Yeah.
We won a flag with all my schoolmates, and it was a really good day. We were in Div 2 at the time as well. Won the flag and then got up to Div 1, and where the real challenge kind of started. But that was the really great time, and that whole final series was just a lot of fun, and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, cool. Ollie, I guess a question for you. You mentioned that your dad obviously was a pretty handy footballer himself. How much has he, I guess, had an impact on you? Like, obviously, you've got other coaches and whatnot around, but how much do you lean on him given his experience in the caper?
He's been a massive help to my development. It's with having another coach by his side all the time, and he's been pretty conscious to not be too hands-on and over the top with that sort of stuff, because let me do my own thing as well. But if I ever need advice, he's always there, and he's always good to let me know the things I am doing well, but also the things I need to improve on, because he knows what exactly you need to be good at to get noticed and get to the next level, seeing he's done it himself. So it's been a real help to sort of refine the sort of things that people look for, and it's been pretty good in that aspect.
Yeah. And Jakob, you're still involved with Dingley now. How how much does that club mean to you?
Yeah, I haven't played for Dingley for a while. It's probably been a year and a bit now, just with COVID and with Dragons and school footy. So it's been a while since I've played, but I still frequently get back down to the club as much as I can. I definitely love the club a lot. It's where I started footy, and it's probably where most of my it's where my early footy memories were formed. And it's great just to get back with mates sometimes and just enjoy the game for what it is. When you're back just kicking the footy, and life's pretty simple. So I love getting down and watching a bit of Dingo's footy.
Yeah, beauty.
Well, let's move on to your time at Sandy, and I'm guessing both of you came about at Sandy through Interleague.
Yeah, we did.
Which is how most come through the Dragons ranks, through Interleague. And I guess tell us about that experience so far. When did you start and come in? What was the experience like, I guess, from a development point, taking your game to the next level with, higher class coaches and S&C people? What was that experience like and has been like since you've come to the Dragons?
Do you want to go first, Ollie?
Yeah. It's been pretty good, with, I think, the fact that for a lot of the boys, obviously some got brought in later, but a lot of us have been a group of 50 odd from all the way back in the Next Gen Academy that got selected for the Interleague. You've been around the same bunch of mates for 3 or 4 years now. We all came in knowing nothing about professionalism and all this strength and conditioning coaching, all that stuff, and we've all learnt together. And so we've all gone through the process together, and all the people we started with, you're all with now. So that's been pretty good. It's been massive to learn, with a bunch of your mates. It's basically, it's hard work, but you're having fun along the way. So I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, same for me. It's obviously been a really enjoyable experience. I came through the interleague ranks as well, but I was probably one that came on a little bit later in terms of my footy ability. I never really made interleague back in under 13s or under 14s, and I got a spot in the under 15s, but I still wasn't super confident. So that 16s year when we came in, COVID obviously took that out, so we didn't play at all. And then the 17s, I broke my collarbone, so I didn't play either. So this was the first year I really felt settled in the program, to be honest, and felt that I belonged and was good enough to be at the level. I always had the belief, but I proved it to myself this year. So it's been a great time at the Dragons, and this has definitely been my most enjoyable year.
And Ollie, you touched on that professionalism thing. I guess on topic of routines, what's the Dragons been like in terms of setting a routine moving forward in a draft year for both you boys? How's it changed the way you prepare daily? I mean, just nutrition, exercise, those type of things. What's it done for you two?
It's been huge for all of us because I think for almost 3 years now we've had, Tuesday, Thursday, sort of Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday through pre-season, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, every other day for the actual main season. And that's kind of been a cycle for, 3 years on end. So we're kind of in that rhythm now, and it's almost second nature, along with all the information and they're telling us about nutrition and sleep and how important recovery is for your body. Because, we've seen people we know who don't treat their body right and can just break down through injury and things like that happen. So you do know how important it is, and they're actually very diligent with, your ice baths, your recovery, and they want to keep you on the track, but it's very important to stay fit.
You, Jakob?
Yeah, I'm probably one that always wants to be doing something. So I guess for me, the professionalism side in terms of my learnings from the Dragons has just been to probably work smarter and not as hard. Obviously work hard while you're out there, and but yeah, it's just about being smart with the things I'm doing, because I've had a few injuries and I want to keep myself out on the park as much as I can. And speaking of Shees, he touches on this a lot. It's just about it's really important to make sure that when you're training hard. But I guess my learnings have been to have a bit of a routine and structure, so I'm not doing something every day and just overloading and cooking myself.
Key coaches, personnel at the Dragons that have helped boost your development, and I guess I'll sort of work this question into this one. In terms of positions, where did you start at the Dragons? Have you changed a lot? Have you moved around, or have you sort of stayed where you've been most of the time?
Well, my Cam Fields, who's my backline coach now, was my under-15 interleague coach. So he was the first coach that really gave me an opportunity at a higher level than club footy. So, had a really great connection with him. And to be under him in the backline this year has been, it's been quite special, to be honest. Cam and I have a great relationship, and I love working with him. So that's worked out really well. And I've always been a backman pretty much. Local footy, I was a bit of a midfielder, but I think most of the handy players found their way into the midfield in the younger days. But as I moved up to the higher ranks to give myself the best chance of getting a spot in the team, I moved myself down to the back line, and I've probably been there for the last 3 or 4 years.
Ollie?
Well, I'd say originally Jackson Kornberg, who's now not the coach anymore, was a massive influence for me early on. Still in pretty good contact with him, so he was probably one to sort of believe in me at first and notice me as a footy player, and kind of elevate me to those training programs with the older kids when I was only around 16 and all that. But when it comes to this year, Mark Cook was my forward coach for the first 4 games when I played purely as a forward, which I didn't really know how to play forward line at all, especially that half forward role, because I've been a midfielder all of my junior career. And then when I went off to school footy, I sort of played some midfield, and people sort of understood that I could play on ball as well. So luckily I've been able to, coming back into Metro and Dragons, get some more on ball time, and put in some good work with Cripper as well. We've been watching heaps of vision and refining my game as well. So he's been a massive help as well this year and giving me the opportunity in the midfield.
That's a pretty good segue onto the next sort of topic, being you both play for Haileybury in the APS competition. The Hots, will start with you, given how you sort of mentioned how that sort of brought you back into the midfield of the Dragons. How important is the school competition to your sort of growth and development?
Oh, very important. I think it also helps everyone sort of involved in it. That love for the game that everyone seems to get when they're playing for Haileybury. That culture we've breeded down there is it's elite, and I love every minute of it. But in terms of footy, it was probably a massive help. I guess I didn't start very well, so playing as a forward for Dragons wasn't very well known, or people didn't really think I was very capable. So going back into that role where I felt sort of more comfortable and had the more green light to do my own thing and play my best footy definitely helped get my name out there sort of and gain some respect, I guess, in that aspect.
Yeah. And what would you say is the best part about playing for Haileybury?
Yeah, it's pretty special. I mean, it's hard to overlook the fact we have ex-Essendon legend Matthew Lloyd as our head coach. He's an amazing resource to have. We learned so much from him each and every session, to be honest. The fact that we have him at a school level coaching us, I think he could be coaching at an AFL level, to be honest. So the fact we have him down at Haileybury, it's pretty unbelievable. And just playing with your mates, like Olli and I, we're super tired and we get to play footy with each other at the Dragons, but to wear the school uniform every day together and then go out and represent the school with all our other mates as well, it's something you'll never forget. And it's pretty special because it only happens for a few years and it's over for us now, but it's something we'll both look back on very fondly.
Yeah. Lloyd, you touched on Lloyd being the coach. What do you find has been his sort of greatest strength as a coach for you both?
Oh yeah, well, obviously he's done a lot in the game himself. So I think just to be honest, personality-wise, how down to earth he is, how easy he is to talk to. I remember my first session; it was slightly intimidating going up to shake his hand.
Yeah.
But to be honest, like he's a great guy. You could talk to him for hours, and he always has time for everyone. Whether you're a role player in the ones, if you're playing in the seconds, or if you're in the leadership group, he'll have time for every single player. So I think he can, he helps players improve, and he's a great communicator.
Yeah.
Well, let's. Sorry, Ollie, you go.
I was going to say also his approach to the players. The way he goes about everything, it's never negative. It's never an attacking sort of communication. It's more he just really wants you to learn and really is passionate for Haileybury. Even in games where we played pretty poorly and deserved a bit of a spray, it was more disappointment that he kind of let out in the rooms after, in the meetings after. It wasn't anger or anything like that. So I think his approach and how he goes about it is really effective, especially with boys that are all different ages and different stages in their careers as well. I think it's really the way he goes about it is really good. Yeah.
I guess the final sort of question on the school footy topic is like what's the atmosphere like in the APS competition? I'm from Mornington Peninsula way, so there's not really anything comparable to that. What's it like being involved in that, where you've got hundreds of people watching each game that are your close mates and that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's it is pretty cool, to be honest. Even just the environment around school during the day. It's definitely the talk of the town at school, and the footy team's going well. And we call it the Bloods Army when we have everyone down watching us. And playing in front of them, it's absolutely unbelievable. I've never played in front of such big crowds than I did this year. It's just the passion, really. Like, everyone loves it. The passion around the school grounds, and the pride for the jumper, the people that aren't even wearing it, how much love they have for it. It's palpable.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to another jumper that you've both worn this year, Vic Metro. Tell us about that experience. And I mean, just from the start getting called up, were you both expecting it? How did it feel? And I guess I'll tell you all the questions in one that I've got. I mean, who have you connected with the group in that time, and just the games in general? How have you found that level of football?
Yeah, well, it was a bit different for me than it was for Jakob. Jakob got the invite quite a few months before I did. So I got elevated a bit late. I think it was 2 or 3 days before the first trial game, I got an email saying I was invited. So
The day of our first training, wasn't it? Is it like the day?
Yeah, might have been, yeah. Yeah, I woke up to an email with my invitation, so that was pretty surreal. But yeah, I've really enjoyed the experience. It was a bit daunting coming in, as that late inclusion, not knowing many of the boys already, and I kind of had to build those relationships pretty quickly, off not a pretty short notice as well. But I was surprised with the way how seamlessly we all kind of got together and really became friends within a couple of training sessions. It's a really professional. It's very professional the way they go about it. It's pretty much an AFL club down there. So yeah, I feel like it was a good opportunity to gel really well with the Sandy boys that are there. We were spending a lot of time with them, and Jakob and I had been away for a bit. But surprisingly, I got pretty good friends with some of the Oakley boys. They're your rivals on the field in AB League, but when you're hanging out with them, they're actually not bad blokes. So yeah, like Blake Jury and Nick Watson, he's Easton as well. But a lot of those boys we got to know pretty well.
Yeah. So I got the invite a little bit earlier than Ollie, but it was still a surprise. I remember getting the text in legal class, and I left class. I came up with some excuse, and I got out of class and rang mum and dad. So I was super excited, and it was a shock, to be honest, as well. And yeah, it has been a great experience, as Ollie said. It's extremely professional, and we gelled really quickly, to be honest, as a group, just off a couple training sessions. And yeah, I've connected really well with most of the backline boys, in particular Josh Weddle, Callum Verrill, Lewis Hayes, and Cameron Kaiser, and probably the main few that I've got on really well with. I've probably forgotten a few as well, but no, they're all great guys, and it's really an elite environment to be a part of. And playing under 18 Vic Metro was something I dreamt about for years. So to be able to wear the big V, it was a privilege.
Yeah. What would you say is the biggest difference between the Metro stuff and the Championship stuff, and then your NAB League footy or your school footy?
To be honest, I thought it did feel pretty similar to the Dragons environment. We were using the Dragons facilities at RCA Park when we could, so we're probably in the most elite space at the Sandy Dragons. But yeah, to be honest, didn't have too much of a different feel, particularly at training. Cripper, who's our head coach at the Dragons, is involved with Vic Metro as well, so there were familiar faces in the coaching staff. But yeah, it was probably just the different faces that had that different feel to it. But overall, it did just feel like a NAB League environment.
Yeah. Yeah, Ollie, what about for you? What would you say is the biggest difference between the NAB League footy and Metro?
I'm pretty similar to Jakob. The only difference is the AFL logos on everyone's tops and shorts.
Yeah,
that makes it feel pretty special. But other than that, no, it actually is quite similar. We have some of the coaching staff and a good chunk of the players there as well. So, it's pretty similar, but still very professional.
Yeah, cool. You've got one more Metro game to go against Vic Country. I think it's after the weekend after the NAB League Grand Final. Have you been around the Metro group much lately? How's the prep been like for that?
No, we haven't been around it at all, actually.
Yeah.
It's been a bit weird, sort of. We haven't had much communication at all with them.
It has been weird, yeah.
Yeah, we've been kind of waiting for it, but not many emails or texts or anything. So, we're not really sure what's going on.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What would you? I guess this is a little bit NAB League related again, but what's the major difference in terms of playing against Metro boys and then playing against Country guys? I know I can't remember who it was, but they were saying that Country's often bigger, more contested bodies. Do you find there's much of a difference between the Country and Metro teams?
Personally, I do think there's a bit of a difference. The Country boys tend to be a bit bigger, a bit stronger and stockier, whereas you find in Metro there's a bit more zippy blokes, a bit of speed, and but it's the Country boys are a lot more physical, I think.
Yeah.
They've grown up in that sort of environment, I guess, and the footy out there is probably a little bit slower pace, but they make up with that with the physicality. So there is a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, they definitely breed them differently in the country. They're just, I think, the main thing is they're probably just a bit bigger, and that was definitely felt in those Vic Metro, Vic Country trial games back a few months ago, Ollie, when we were trying out. I think that was the major difference, was just their size and physicality, probably.
Yeah, cool. Ollie, I really want to pick your brains here because it seems like you're the bolter of all the championships. You're the name that's on everyone's lips at the moment with how you're going. What does it feel like something's clicked for you since of late, or is it just a case of, as you said, like you played in the midfield at Haileybury and you got to show what you could do there, and then it's just a case of natural progression?
Yeah, just a little bit, but it's also I think a confidence thing as well. Kind of proving yourself that you kind of can do it. And after starting pretty shockingly, it's good to build up some form at school level and kind of just play it away and keep it going. But it also is a bit of a tribute to not being as fit and a bit sick at the start of the year, which with my game especially really affects me when I'm not in pretty good nick. So I've got to be. My fitness has improved with every week since the start of the season, so I think that's also a bit of a contributor. Along with the fact that I'm taking it a lot more seriously. I have been taking it seriously and going over the vision and really just putting my head down and working on any growth area I have. So I am probably getting better through the weeks, and a tribute to the coaches. Lloyd's probably a big contributor. Cripper and all that really helped me. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. You've both got combines coming up. Jakob, what's your how are you feeling ahead of that? Are you someone who likes the testing usually, or are you not a huge fan of it? What are your thoughts sort of heading into that?
Oh, I don't mind it too much, to be honest. I just love the idea of being there, being a part of it, and getting to showcase myself.
Yeah.
Didn't earn a national combine invite, which was disappointing at the start, but getting the state combine invite, made up for that, and hopefully I can play a few more good games and keep building interest. But hoping to test well. I'm still not 100% sure what tests we're doing because our combine's only one day, but Olli's with the national one is over a few days. So I'm not sure what the go will be with a 2K or a yo-yo test. Not sure what the go will be there, but just really excited. There's some good players on the state combine list as well. So it's cool to be a part of it.
Yeah, cool. What's the test that you're most looking forward to doing? What's the one that you go, oh yeah, this is my sort of forte?
There's probably not one I excel in, to be honest. But speed's something that lots of people question me on. So I'm looking forward to the 20 metre and just hopefully getting another decent time and kind of trying to put those doubts with my speed to bed a little bit.
Yeah, awesome. Ollie, what about you? What's your how are you sort of feeling headed into the combine?
No, I'm really looking forward to it. I love the testing days.
Yeah.
Apart from the 2K time trials, I really don't really enjoy those very much. I'm dreading that one a little bit. Hoping somehow that gets cancelled. But no, other than that, no, I'm really looking for. I love the testing. It's a good fun. Everyone's just trying to do their best and break their own little personal records and get their little achievements. So it's really fun.
Yeah, and what's your sort of favorite test?
I'm probably looking forward to the vertical leg ones this time around.
Yeah.
The preseason I did all right in the sprint, so kind of want to improve on the jump, which I didn't really jump as high as I wanted to last time.
Yeah, cool. Beauty.
Well, let's move into everyone's favourite, the fan questions. Bill and I will go back and forth, giving you each a question. And look, there were a couple of questions we couldn't say, and I think there are a lot of inside jokes here that just could not be said publicly and could not be asked publicly. But it's all right. We'll go ahead anyway. The first one, Mackenzie Owen, teammate of yours, and he says, "Who's the best bloke at the Dragons?"
I think he's hoping to get a mention here. To be honest, Ollie's close to him, so he might mention him. But to be honest, I don't want to. Without picking a favourite, I'm going to have to. I love Luke Travers. Trav and I get along very well. He's an unreal guy. And I love getting to train with Trav, so he'd have to be my pick.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give Macca what he's looking for. No, Macca is a good bloke. We get along pretty well. We get into each other a little bit at training. He gives me a few gut punches every now and then, which I give him back, so it's all good. We get along really well on and off the field. So, he was asking for it, so he got it.
Yeah, cool. The next one is from Bianca Ando. Ando, is that a relation there to you?
Yeah, that's my little sister.
Awesome. How old's she?
She's in year 11, so only a year younger, but
yeah. Does she play footy as well?
She used to. She played for school, but she's a bit of a gun netballer, so she's gone back to that.
Yeah, nice. She asks, if you don't get drafted to the same club, how will you bear to be a part?
Oh, look, to be honest, the focus is probably just getting drafted at all for me. I'd be getting pretty greedy if I was asking to get drafted to the same club as Olli. Hopefully he can help me out there and he chucks me a few mentions with a couple of clubs that he might go to. But yeah, look, we've gotten pretty tight, so it'd be cool to go to the same place.
I'll just look forward to playing against him if that happens.
Next one, Charlie Begg. He's asked favourite footy moment. I mean, I'm going to guess this relates to just both your personal careers, but even if you got a footy moment, that's just AFL related.
I'd say in personal career, probably this year was that game against Carey. We had about a month or two ago now, a month and a half, where we finally hit the ton and won by over 100 points. I feel like it was kind of the end of all the hard work we put in for, since November last year. It was coming up to that point, and we executed on everything we've been trying to do for months. And also this is for Haileybury school footy. And yeah, that was a really defining moment for us, and I feel like it was a big reward for effort. So that was my favourite moment.
Yeah, I wasn't a part of that game. I was still injured, so I missed out on that one. But my favourite footy moment is probably, well, from a non-playing perspective, watching Freo in the grand final, the Freo Dockers in the 2013 grand final, being there even though we lost was pretty cool. But my favourite moment probably has to be either the last game of school footy against St. Kevin's on our main deck at home. That was a pretty special day. Or playing my first game for Vic Metro this year. That was pretty special as well, getting to travel interstate.
Yeah, awesome. And I'm going to have to ask you why Freo? You've got to be the only Freo supporter I know, I reckon.
The podcast will go for a while if I explain the full story, but my dad's a Freo man. I don't know why. And I've jumped on with him. It's been a bit of a journey the last few years, but we might be starting to see a bit of success this year. We'll see.
Yeah. How do you think they'll go this final series? Do you reckon they'll win Saturday night?
I hope we win Saturday night, but I heard there's a bit of rain coming to Perth, so that hasn't been great fortune for us this season. But Nat Fyfe's out, which is a bit of a shame as well, because I really wanted to see him a part of it. But yeah, hopefully Andy Brayshaw can get us over the line, and an ex-Dragon as well.
Yeah, cool. Hot to you. Collingwood or Carlton?
I'm Collingwood, as you can see in the background.
Oh, yeah, hang on the flag.
Yeah, well, that was up. But yeah, no, I'm Collingwood. I am a bit of Carlton as well. It's basically both. When they play each other, I'm leaning towards Collingwood.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was very mixed emotions on the last round this year.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, because I obviously wanted the Pies to make top 4, but I didn't really want to see Carlton drop out of the 8. So I was kind of happy either way, I guess.
No, it's just squirming in the background there. It's a big Blues man. The next question is from Jonty. He asks, he wants to know about the Anderson Hotton bromance. Tell us a bit about. We'll frame it as, Ando, what's your favourite thing about Olli? And Hots, what's your favourite thing about Ando?
It's a bit romantic, almost. To be honest. It's my favourite thing about Olli. Look, to be honest, something about Olli, and I've noticed it for years, to be honest, and I'm glad he's starting to get heaps of rewards now because he really deserves it. But no matter when things don't fall Ollie's way, he's the first one to send you a text congratulating you on something. Yeah, I've always noticed that. I've noticed that with Olli, and yeah, it's quite impressive, to be honest. Like even just school leadership things. I remember when I got the Vic Metro invite and he didn't. He was the first bloke that texted me congratulating me. So yeah, that's probably the main thing. He's just he's just a great mate, and even when things don't fall his way, he's the first to send you a message and congratulate you about your successes.
But yeah, I'd say the best thing about Ando is his professionalism, in his character. As you probably noticed from just his Zoom call alone, he's a very good public speaker. But yeah, the way he goes about everything, whether that be school or footy or just being a good mate in general. He goes about it in the best way possible and is very professional. And I don't know how he does it, but the way he talks to everyone and communicates his words, they just come out fluently every time. And yeah, it's the thing I look up to him for and respect him for. So
yes, Olli. Thank you.
No worries.
Nice little talk there.
Yeah,
We'll move on. Next, it's a great talk, man. I'm going to clip that. One. It's a good one. Next question from Ziggy. This one's for Ollie. So he's asked, do you think your brother Taj is going to be better than you, if not already?
Ooh, wow. I don't know. If he works pretty hard, I think he has the ability to do it. I'd say he's not at the moment, no. When I was his age, I'd say he's better than I was when I was that age. So if he keeps working hard and puts his mind to it, I think he could be.
Does he want to make it to the AFL?
He does. He's a bit in two minds with basketball at the moment. He's a pretty handy basketball as well. He's trying to split his time between Dragons and rep basketball. So once he makes a decision to go with footy, which I'm sure he will, he'll focus on that, and I'm sure he'll do just fine.
Yeah, nice. Next one is from Nate Willow. Who is your favourite AFL player?
Mine would have to be. It's always been Nat Fyfe as a Freo man, but playing the way I have been the last few years in the back line, I love watching Luke Ryan, who also plays for the Freo Dockers. I think I play a little bit like him. He's probably he's probably my favourite player at the moment.
Yeah.
And I'd say mine's probably Luke Davies-Uniacke, which is a bit of a weird pick, even though I don't go for North. But as a ex-Haileybury boy, I just love the way he plays, and even on a pretty sub-poor team, he tries pretty hard, and he's finally playing pretty well this year and getting the respect he deserves. And I think there's some traits in his game that I also have myself, so I've been watching him pretty closely.
Yeah. So are either of you in contact with either past Dragons guys that you played when you were in the younger levels, or ex-Haileybury boys at all still?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I speak to Cody Waitman not a fair bit, but yeah, in contact with Cody every now and then. Andy Brayshaw, I text him a little bit, which is cool to get some Freo some inside info on Freo. So they're the Haileybury boys. And then Connor McDonald and Marcus Windhager as well from last year, Haileybury. But probably not as much Dragons in particular, just because haven't had heaps of contact with COVID, and really this is my first full year in the program, but apart from injuries, so it's mainly just been Haileybury boys.
Then the last question. Oh, sorry. I've done that twice. I cut you off. Go on. I'm just thinking too much ahead.
I'm a bit different. I'm similar to Ando, but I haven't had the old Haileybury kids like Cody and Andrew, but still in contact with Hugo Hookan, Marcus Windhager, and Connor a bit. So
Of course.
Yeah, that's been it.
Yeah. Yeah, nice.
Now on to the last question. Apologies. Joel Bartholomew, probably the most normal question we got, I got to say. It's just, how do you prepare for a game night before and morning of? What's your preparation routine before a game?
Ollie, do you want to go?
Yeah. I'm pretty cruisy. I usually watch the footy. If it's not too late of a game, probably to the end, and then I just kind of take it pretty easy. I do stretch a little bit while I'm watching the footy and just get ready. Usually have a pasta for dinner. That tends to be my pre-game meal. And then just get to sleep relatively early if I can. If your nerves are pretty high, it's kind of hard to get to sleep the night before, but try to get to sleep pretty early. And then I've started waking up a bit earlier in the morning on game day. I used to just kind of wake up when I woke up and get to the game, but as the years gone on, I've gotten up a bit earlier and getting active kind of before I get in the car to go. Just have a nice nutritional sort of breakfast, and do all the warm up and stuff that I need to, but nothing really too specific.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. Pretty cruisy, nothing too structured. Just night before, if there's some footy on, I'll watch that, have a bit of pasta, and then the morning of, wake up, relatively early. And then Ollie got me on the coffees this year, so I have a coffee before a game now, and then just a bit of music, and I'm right to go. Yeah,
who's your go-to pump-up tune? What's your go-to pump-up tune?
I'm not much of a pump-up tune guy. I probably like to stay a bit more chill. I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one, but I don't mind a bit of One Direction. A bit of One Direction before a game goes well. Kid Leroy, he's pretty good. And then this is probably a little bit pump-up, bit of Machine Gun Kelly as well. He's more just crazy, really, than pump-up, but a bit of that too.
Yeah, nice mix. Is there anyone at the club that has like some weird pre-game superstitions that you've sort of noticed? You go, what's this bloke doing here?
Oh, I reckon Ashley's there about 6 hours before a game, but no, nothing too strange.
I think the Drags are pretty normal with that.
Pretty normal, really. Yeah. There's nothing that jumps out, to be honest. Oh, Benny Hempel moisturised his legs before a couple games. That was a bit.
Yeah, right.
To be honest, that was a bit different. I'm not sure that was about. But yeah, and then Benny Andrews usually has some really odd shorts on or something, some baggy, weird shorts. But apart from that, it's pretty normal.
Yeah, Benny Andrews loves the tunes as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Sure.
Awesome. So the last little segment, I guess, is a this or that. So I'll toss you two, or me or Nate will toss you two options, and you've just got to tell us which one you'd go to or you'd prefer. So the first one is a beach or a snow holiday.
Ooh, I'd go beach.
I'd go snow.
Snow. Are you a snowboarder or a skier?
I've been once, but I just love the snow for some reason. Like, I'm not a huge beach guy, so I love the idea of snowboarding over surfing.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
There you go. Mark of the year or goal of the year?
I reckon goal of the year. I'd rather goal of the year.
I'd go Mark.
Interesting. Night game or day game?
I reckon night game.
Night game?
Night game, yeah. You can do a little bit more during the day, relax a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon night game.
I've never had one, but I'd rather a night game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you prefer watching night footy or footy during the day?
Yeah, I reckon night footy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next one, I mean, pizza or pasta?
Pasta.
Yeah, pasta. I reckon. Got to say that in case the coaches are watching, a bit healthier.
What's your favourite type of pasta?
It's carbonara, I think now.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's carbonara as well.
Yeah. English or maths?
Maths any day.
Definitely English. Definitely English.
English.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your favourite subject at school more broadly?
Probably English, to be honest. I don't love going to class,
right.
but it's probably what I do best in.
Yeah.
All right. Mine's PE. I did it last year, so this year probably business management that I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah. What are your plans sort of post? Obviously, we hope that you get onto an AFL list and do that, but if you weren't on an AFL list, or if you potentially look at doing something on the side of it, what sort of something that you might do outside of footy down the track?
Okay.
Yeah, like, look, to be honest, kept it pretty open. But I do like the idea of maybe doing something sports management related. Just with this year and the experiences I've had speaking with managers, that's probably something that, something that's interested me, and maybe something to do with journalism, something like you boys.
Yeah.
Dad's an ex-journo and author, so that's something it's in my blood a little bit, the writing. So that's maybe something I'd look into.
Yeah, cool.
Then to wrap it up, Instagram or TikTok famous?
Probably
TikTok at the moment with the.
I reckon Instagram. I'd rather have like a couple mil on Instagram than TikTok. I reckon.
You go, Ollie.
TikTok at the moment, with how it's going, with how much more famous TikTok seems to be at the moment.
You basically are TikTok famous at the moment, though, Ollie, with that.
Oh, is there? Is Ollie big on? Is he big? Is he?
No, so a mate's posted a video and it kind of got a few likes.
Yeah, right.
Well, on that, Jacob, you did pop up on my For You page the other day.
I did.
I saw that video as well, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's the same account. It's just this kid at school keeps videoing us, but mine has not blown up to the extent of Ollie's at all. He's just gone off.
Well,
I'll give you the two. Who's got the best social media game at the club, and who's got the shittest social media game at the club?
Barky loves posting stuff of himself, like reposting those things on his story, like the
he loves
and the like if he's on an interview or something. I reckon Ashy's is pretty clean. Like he's got some good. His feed's not bad. Like a bit of a mix of posts.
Yeah, he's looking pretty professional.
Yeah, he looks like he has someone running it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aiden Riley, the Turkish Prince, is his Instagram handle. So that's probably the worst one.
Ollie, anything else to add to that lot?
No. Yeah, I'd say he's probably the worst.
Well, there we are. Wraps up another good episode. Thank you, boys, for joining me today. Like we said a bit earlier, we've got a quarterfinal this week against the Calder Cannons at Ballarat. And look, if you're a really loyal Dragon supporter, we'll see you there. But there is a live stream on the NAB League app. And the winner of our game will play the winner of Gippsland and Northern Knights next week. So stay tuned for that. Thank you, boys, for joining. And until then, we'll see you in another episode.